Hi guys, it's Josh Weeb here and you're watching Beekeeping in Canada. In one of my past videos I talked briefly about working to try to overwinter some mini nukes to get some queens in, and it kind of fell by the wayside and became an afterthought through last season. And towards the end of the year I did have 4 queens that I didn't have placement for, and I decided I was just going to do a bit of a tiny project. I mean, 4 is not a very good survey of what could happen, but it was more just for my own clarity to what would happen if I tried to overwinter them without feeding them through the winter. Now, clearly, we could probably guess that the single story ones were going to die. I thought the double stories might die and the triple stories might actually make it through, and I only had one of the double stories and one of the triple stories, so like I said, not a very good survey. But what happened was all 4 of these colonies died, and it's not a total loss because I was kind of expecting it to happen. So what I was doing was I was checking in. I was popping these feeder plugs and looking in to see if there was colony still moving around in there over winter. And I for the sake of understanding, I just refused to feed them, and I could have fed them indoors. I could have given them dry sugar patty or done a pail feeder over top, which does work as well. And this was more so to find out at what point do they need it. And so what I can tell you is that the single story ones, by the end of January, the single story ones were already starved out and dead. The double story one lasted right up until about mid-February, and the triple story one was actually about the same. The triple story one did have a lot more bees in it because I did shake a bunch of bees in front of the triple story one. So what I can understand then, and what I'll do this year, is I'm actually going to probably make them all double stories, and then I'm going to make some sugar cakes or sugar patties for them, and I'm going to make a feeder rim up top, and I'm going to put the feed up top for them sometime around mid-January. And we're going to see if we can't get, what do I have? I think I have about I have 70 of these mini supers, and each of those supers will be able to fit 5 frames in it. They're 5 half-length medium frames, and so what I'll do is I'll put them all in as doubles, and then I will also give them sugar cakes in January, and I'll keep an eye on those sugar cakes and just to ensure that they are all right. And I'm actually going to do all well, don't quote me on this later in the year because things just got crazy, but I'm going to try and put as many into the shed as possible. And now the only thing that I'm sacrificing through doing this is I'm sacrificing a queen that I didn't have a spot for. And I'm also sacrificing the colony, which was productive throughout the year for me in creating queens, because I use these for queen breeding in the summertime. But instead of shaking those out and putting them in storage for winter, I'm going to try and put them into the shed as overwintered colonies, and I'm going to try and get them through so that come springtime, that queen during this time, you know, April and May, she'll start ramping up and she'll build a brood nest in that double. And then once I'm ready to breed my own queens, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to split it in half to make 2 of these. And with that brood in there, I feel like in springtime, I'm going to have a head start. Those queens will come out looking much nicer, and I'll be able to get those queens earlier as well, because there will be active brood hatching in there, and I don't have to worry about shaking a bunch of bees in there and worrying about those bees, you know, flying back to a different hive or getting disorientated. And I think that that'll work. And now that I have a bit of an understanding of how late into winter all of these sizes can get, this is just cumbersome. I'm not going to do this, but I think this is the way to go with the double. I'm really curious if anybody has attempted this and what their results were, and if they have any kind of advice or anything of that nature for me as far as how to get these small, tiny colonies to make it through the winter. Now, mind you, I am wintering in outside my bee shed. So I'm able to maintain the temperature, and we try to maintain it right around 4 degrees Celsius. So at 4 degrees Celsius, if I slide them right together, I give them feed up top in the form of sugar cakes, I think it can be done. If this all works out, we'll be able to sell queens in earlier spring. We'll be able to use the queens to replace any failing queens earlier in spring. Once we pull that first queen out that made it through winter, drop it in somewhere else, we put a cell in there, and that cell will just continue on. And there'll be a lot less maintenance if we can get them through winter. So that's what I'm looking to do. Let me know any thoughts, concerns, comments you might have below. I'm very interested if anybody else has done something on a small scale like this in a cold climate with indoor wintering. I mean, of course, I'm not going to be able to do this type of thing wintering outside. It just wouldn't work out. But indoor wintering, I think that it can be done. I think you can maintain a smaller population by sharing heat of boxes together, and also by giving them the feed. And very excited to see where this season goes. If you'd like to follow along and see where we're going with our queens and with our journey of self-sustainability, definitely subscribe below, like and comment, whatever you want to do below. Definitely appreciate it.